What's going on, people? It is Irish Gunner HD here. You can call me Irish. And first off, I would like to firstly apologise, of course, for the lack of videos over the last 2 weeks at least. I will have another video coming, and that will explain the kind of like what's been going on and why I've not been making any videos. There's no real excuse, but the excuse that I have, I hope you'll understand. But yeah, so for today's video, you'll be watching some Battlefield 4 pre-CTE patch footage. And then at the end there'll be just some Battlefield 3 clips. So the kind of general highlight usual footage that I put up. But yeah, so what happened was today that set me off on wanting to make this video was Ubisoft have begun their kind of marketing thing for Far Cry 4. And if you want to go about marketing your game by recruiting YouTubers to come in, if you want to pay for YouTubers to come in and play the game and post the footage on their channels, that's fine. As long as the YouTubers stay kind of unbiased as much as they can, it's a weird line to toe. But as long as they do their best to kind of toe that line, I'm good. But that's not even what I'm getting at. So my problem with it was the two channels that I'm subscribed to that they recruited are X Factor, who is like formerly known as Rival X Factor, Battlefield YouTuber, former Battlefield competitive player, big FPS PC gamer guy, hasn't touched a console, that he said in his Far Cry 4 video. He said it himself in the very same video. He hasn't touched a controller in about 6 years, he said. And Boogie2988, otherwise known as Francis, which I'm sure most of you guys know. Boogie2988 is less hardcore with the PC gaming, but he is still, as far as I know, primarily identifies himself as a PC gamer. He plays like all the other consoles, and he plays like the DS and PSP and stuff like that, and the PS Vita and stuff. I know all that, so before anyone wants to get at me about Boogie being an all-round gamer, not just a PC gamer, I know all this kind of stuff. But what I wanted to get at was, if you don't follow me on Twitter, I was basically ranting about it earlier on Twitter, and it made me want to make a video about it, because I'm after making like 8 or 9 tweets here, and this would be like a decent video topic at least. So they invited primarily PC gamers out to the Far Cry 4 event. At least the ones that I've seen. Obviously, if they invited 100 people and just Boogie and X Factor were the only 2 people that I've seen, okay, I do apologise. But just from what I've seen, they invited at least 2 primarily PC gamers, and then they made them play on PS4. Now, let me start off by saying that this isn't like a Ubisoft specific thing. I know Ubisoft have come under a lot of fire recently with their warped ideas of what the word cinematic means when it comes to gameplay. I'm not even going to get started there, trust me. But yeah, so it's a practice that I'll never understand. It's not just Ubisoft. Battlefield, EA and DICE do the same thing. They fly the likes of Level Cap and Rival X Factor and stuff like that out there. And I think in the past they used to make them play on Xboxes. More recently they've set up PCs and stuff, so they're getting better at it. But by and large, the practice of inviting gamers that play on a specific console or a specific system, whether it's console or PC, and then flying them out there and making them play on a console or a controller. If they're Xbox gamers, you make them play on a PS4. If they're PS4 gamers, you make them play on an Xbox controller. If they're a PC, you get the gist. Making them play on a system that they're not familiar with is beyond me, because all the footage from, both Rival X Factor's video and Boogie's video have been just bad. They've been just bad. It's interesting to hear what they have to say about the gameplay, I suppose. But the gameplay that we're watching is 2 guys fumbling around ham-fisted on controllers that they haven't used in 6 years, for X Factor in particular, obviously. And Boogie is just not particularly amazing. He's not exactly a competitive player with the controller. So I just don't understand the concept. So what was running through my head was, would it really be that big of a deal to set up a small PC area with 10 PCs or 5 PCs and just be okay, we have PC systems set up, you can bring your own mouse, your own keyboard, they're all ready to plug in. Hooray, that's what PCs do. You can set up yourself on a PC and you can record some footage. What was I going to say? Because Far Cry 4 in particular, it's an FPS game. It is all about the story as well. Like, obviously the story is incredibly important, and it's not exactly like a multiplayer FPS shooter, but it's an FPS game, and everybody knows it's not up for debate. Keyboard and mouse is better than the controller for FPS. And I was thinking, I was like, why would they do this? Why would they create this just ridiculous situation? And then I realized, okay, it's all down to showing off the game. And they had them all playing on PS4s. So, in my head, the only kind of obvious reason for this is, I don't want to say typical Ubisoft, because it's not typical Ubisoft. Like, Ubisoft used to be good, but it's becoming almost like recent typical Ubisoft. They're showing off the game on PS4. PS4 is better, has got better hardware than the Xbox. So they're showing it off as good as they can on the consoles to just be able to say, hey, look at this great footage from Rival X Factor on the PlayStation 4. The console gameplay is so next generation. Whereas they could have easily, as I'd said earlier on, set up the likes of X Factor and Boogie on PCs, but then they would have had to admit that they were playing on PCs with the graphics turned down. Or if they didn't turn the graphics down, they would have had to admit that the graphics were turned up on the PC, and that's why it looks so much better, and that's why all the gameplay looks so much smoother and better. I've run out of time in the gameplay. I hope I've gotten across the message. Like, I'm after getting cut off there, but I don't think I had too much more to say. Just basically, my last point is, I'll finish on this. Flying out X Factor to your venue to play your game, then handing him a PlayStation 4 controller is like hiring LeBron James to come out and play basketball and then giving him a football. That's the way I came away from this kind of Far Cry footage release kind of thing. I'm sure it's going to be a great game. I loved Far Cry 3. Far Cry 3 was an amazing game with the keyboard and mouse. I tried it out with my PS3 controller. It's a little more finicky, naturally, but it was a great game. I hope the best for Far Cry 4. And that is about it. I do apologise again for going so long over the gameplay. If you enjoyed it, please do leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new here, thanks for watching, and goodbye.